Let me introduce you to a young woman who killed 309 enemy soldiers before she turned 26 years old. 309. Her name is Lyudmila Pavlichenko. The Nazis, and this is badass. How bad do you have to be when the Nazis are calling you that Russian bitch from hell? I love it. Even her own army called her Lady Death. 309 kills, you guys. This is a Russian sniper during World War II. Let's get into it. Lyudmila Pavlichenko is not a myth. It's not a propaganda made-up story. This woman is for real. She is one of the deadliest snipers in history. So today we're going to talk about her properly. We're not going to bubblegum it. Oh, girl with a gun. This is a woman who very strong, very talented, very skilled, very controlled, very disciplined all through life, even as a child, stepped into war when her country was invaded and said, hand me a rifle. Lyudmila was born in 1916 in what is now Ukraine, but at the time, 1916 was part of the Russian Empire. As you know, the revolution came in 1917 and became the USSR after that. But when she was born, it was the Russian Empire. As a teenager, she moved to Kiev. And even as a child, as she grew up, she was very athletic, very competitive. You might be able to call her a tomboy. She was just really into athletics. She even described herself as a tomboy. Because she was so competitive in athletics, she decided to join a shooting club as a sport. And at 23 years old, 1939, she won a Verishilov sharpshooter badge. So she was really good. She's a good shooter. She hits the target. Winning an award like that, just so you know, it's not a participation ribbon. It is, she knew how to shoot. She dead aimed it. Her shooting was dead on balls accurate. She eventually got a job, worked in a factory. She went to night school. She got married young. She had a son. Unfortunately, her marriage ended in a divorce when she's still very young. Her child is still very young. She's looking after a baby. She's a single mother. She's working, and she's also studying history at the University of Kiev. She had big plans to be a scholar because she's highly intelligent as well as athletic. Like, the girl got it all. She got it all. History had other plans for her. June 1941, the Nazis and Germany invade the Soviet Union. Lyudmila walks into a recruiting office in Odessa and says, sign me up, sign me up. I want to join the infantry. They suggested that she should be a nurse, which, very honorable, very hard job in wartime. Kudos to the nurses. But she wasn't a caregiver. She was a shooter, a sharpshooter. She insisted, put me in the infantry. She had every socially acceptable exit ramp possible to avoid combat. And she refused. She could have been a clerk. She could have been a nurse. She didn't want to have a support role in this war. So she just kept saying, no, not for me. No, put me in the infantry. So finally they did. They finally accept her as a sniper in the Army's 25th Rifle Division. Unfortunately, at first, she's digging trenches. There was a weapons shortage. I think she had maybe been handed one grenade. Then one of her comrades in the army was wounded, and he handed her a rifle, his rifle. August 8th, 1941, her first combat engagement. She spotted two German officers 400 meters away, and she picked them off. Bink, bink. That was her debut. Then comes the siege of Odessa, and she fights here in combat about 3 to 4 months. By the time that siege and battle ends, she's now at 187 confirmed kills. And we're not talking random chaos shooting. This is precision shooting. When we look at snipers, if you don't know, because I didn't know, but it requires a lot of patience, stillness, calculation, and emotional discipline, and physical discipline. This is a woman, she's only 25 years old. So they promoted her. Now she's a senior sergeant. She meets, falls in love, and marries a fellow sniper, Alexei Kinsenko. But shortly after, he's killed by mortar fire. That didn't stop her. It didn't fell her. She didn't crumble into an emotional wreck. She kept going, and she did not quit. In fact, knowing the kind of woman I am, she was probably mad as hell, more determined than ever. So eventually her unit is evacuated to a place called Sevastopol. She continues fighting during that siege. She goes on to train other snipers who then go on to kill 100 more Axis enemies. In the end, she is at 309 kills, including other snipers. 39 of them, to be exact. 39 other enemy snipers taken down by this woman. Sniper versus sniper duels are a different kind of psychological beast altogether. It requires so much patience. It's hours. It's stillness for hours. Physical stillness, mental strength. You cannot make one mistake in a standoff with another sniper. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and it's going to be clear cut. One mistake, that's it. She won every time. With 309 wins altogether, that makes her one of the deadliest snipers in all of history. Not just female sniper. That's out of males and females. She is one of the deadliest snipers in all of recorded history. June 1942, we know now there's still lots of war left. She actually is wounded. A mortar shell explodes nearby, and she's hit in the face with shrapnel. The Soviet High Command actually evacuates her by submarine. Now, I don't know if we got to understand, if the Soviet High Command is evacuating you via submarine, you are a valuable asset to this army. It says everything. So she spends a month in the hospital mending her face and wants to go back to the front line, but they say no. They instead turn into a propaganda machine and send her on tour of America. North America. She visits Canada and the U.S. Now, this isn't a PR girl. She's not touring North America and being soft-spoken and sweet and charming. She's blunt. This is why I love a Russian. They just say what they need to say. Do you like my accent? I tried. So she's in the United States and Canada in 1942. She's trying to convince their as allies to open another front. And she becomes the first Soviet Union citizen ever to be received by an American president. Franklin D. Roosevelt welcomes her to the White House, and Eleanor Roosevelt actually does the tour with her. They would eventually become very good friends. Now, the American press, being the American press, of course, asked her stupid-ass questions. They asked her questions about the length of her skirts. They asked her questions about her lipstick. They even asked her questions about her underwear. Obviously, this chick is not going to be amused with that foolishness. The reporters were so sexist. She actually challenged one of them to a fist fight. And I think she probably could have took him. Then she gives one of the coldest lines in wartime history. She's in Chicago, and they're asking her these stupid-ass questions. She says, "Gentlemen, I am 25 years old, and I have killed 309 fascist invaders by now. Don't you think, gentlemen, that you have been hiding behind my back for too long?" Did you like my accent there? I did my best. Mic drop. The crowd went bananas. That's not diplomacy. That's steel. And a major F-U to those idiots asking her stupid-ass questions. So what does the U.S. government do? It presents her with a Colt semi-automatic pistol. In Canada, she receives a Winchester Model 70 rifle with a telescopic sight. Thousands are there to greet her at Toronto's Union Station. She's a hero. She's a global sensation. Let's talk about what she actually earned, because this isn't symbolic fluff. She has so many awards. Hero of the Soviet Union, Gold Star Medal, 2 Orders of Lenin in 1942 and 1943. Now, an Order of Lenin was one of the most prestigious civilian and military decorations you could get. She has 2 medals for military merit. She has a medal for the defense of Odessa, that battle. Medal for the defense of Sevastopol, that battle. medal for the victory over Germany in the Great Patriotic War. And of course, it all goes back to when she was 23 years old and got the Voroshilov sharpshooter badge. She didn't become Lady Death overnight. She had been training and disciplined in her sport to the point that she was unbeatable. 39 other snipers went up against her and lost. She returns to her homeland. She did continue to train snipers until the end of the war in 1945. And she was an officer in the army, but never did return to combat after that. After the war, she continued as a researcher, a senior researcher, working for the Soviet Navy. She died in 1974. She was only 58, and she had a stroke. Now, I had not previously heard of this woman, even though I've heard of the Night Witches and I've read stories about them. I had not heard about this sniper. So it was really exciting to read about her and realize how much of a legend she actually is. The songwriter Woody Guthrie wrote a song about her, and it's called Miss Pavlichenko. Have a little listen.
300 Nazis fell by your gun, fell by your gun, oh, fell by your gun. More than 300 Nazis fell by your gun.
Her face appeared on Soviet postage stamps. None of it's a myth. Full-on impact. Here's what I love about her. Oftentimes, women are framed as kind of don't know what to do about her historically because they stand out. They're different. In this case, she was appreciated in her own time. She was given awards. She was given medals. She was given honors. And she was able to build a legacy contemporarily with her own life, not celebrated long after her death. She didn't fight because it was a novelty. She wasn't trying to make any kind of gender statement. Her country was invaded. She knew she had a skill, and she fought for her country. The truth of the matter is she was a better sniper than anybody else in the army. Anyone alive, really. She's one of the best snipers of all time, ever. She had 309 confirmed kills. Aged 25, a 25-year-old young woman. This goes to show her years and years of discipline and focus and mental strength. Cold resolve. You can disagree with the politics of the Soviet Union, talk about propaganda. This woman's the real deal. There's no debating. This woman stepped into hell and proceeded to dominate. Lyudmila Pavlichenko, Lady Death, or, according to the Nazis, that Russian bitch from hell. They were scared. They were scared. Good reason. Absolutely one of the most formidable women of the 20th century. It's been a pleasure reading about her. If you like what you see and like what you hear, like the video and please click subscribe. It really helps the channel.